We've just been talking about your manifesto pledges in 2019. Tell us why you've decided to change the commitments made by Liz Truss on fracking to recommit to that pledge in 2019.
Well, I think Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, quite rightly decided that the 2019 manifesto was the manifesto that delivered that mandate for us, and that we need to focus on that manifesto, because when in 24 months' time, if we've delivered against it, we go to the country, we're able to say, this is the manifesto you elected us on, look at our track record in delivery. What he said on fracking, and I don't know whether you know this, but I'm a chemical engineer by background. You know, we have some fantastic assets in the North Sea, which we are incentivizing companies to continue to invest in. This year, actually, production is up by about 26% from the North Sea, and that the technology on fracking, if it becomes improved and if it's seen to be safe and communities want it, then of course we revisit that moratorium. But at the moment, the focus has to be on delivering the 2019 manifesto.
Zahawi, it's very important to deliver on the 2019 manifesto, hence the fracking ban will continue. Why is it then that the Prime Minister appears to be junking a very important part of that manifesto, the triple lock? Well, the Prime Minister yesterday, I think, also explained the tough decisions ahead. Andrew, you know this, we've got war on our continent. In 2019, we didn't have war on our continent. We have had an extraordinary pandemic that we had to deal with. In 2019, of course, we didn't have that. What the Prime Minister did say is that these are going to be tough decisions, but also he will always make sure that those that are most vulnerable are put first. They are the ones that we focus on, that are protected. He was the Chancellor of the Exchequer who effectively delivered that £1,200 for the most vulnerable 8 million households in our country when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer, and he'll continue to prioritise the most vulnerable. And I think I'm stating the obvious here, but pensioners don't have the luxury of being able to take on work and more hours to augment their pension, to add to their income, and he'll be conscious of that, as will the Chancellor. What he won't do is preempt the autumn statement. I think that's only right. Andrew, you've been around politics for long enough to know that's how governments do things. We have an autumn statement, we have budgets, and that's what we wait to hear from the Chancellor. There's not going to be easy decisions. As I said, there's war on our continent. The inflation is high, not just in our country, but in Europe. Mr. Zahawi, with respect, you can't come on the programme and say how important the manifesto is, which is why you're going to continue with the fracking ban, and then junk a major part of it, which affects 11 million people. The manifesto is sacrosanct, or it isn't. When no one's junked anything, all I'm saying to you is I'm not going to preempt it, Andrew. I know you are a very, very clever journalist, and you're sort of trying to get me to make a commitment, a fiscal commitment, when we have an autumn statement. What I'm saying to you is wait until the autumn statement, and I will happily come back on your show, and congratulations on your debut presenting today, Andrew. I will happily come back on your programme and then discuss the autumn statement in detail, but let's wait and see what happens on the 17th of November.
Let's talk about things you are happy to do, because what you and other of your colleagues have been put into a position now where you've got to defend, and we've had this before in Boris Johnson's government, some unusual appointments. Why is it that Suella Braverman is back in the cabinet when there are concerns that there were multiple breaches of security rules? Are you frustrated to have to defend claims like that again?
Right, let's just look at what happened with Suella Braverman. When Suella Braverman was the Home Secretary under the previous administration, if you look at her letter that she wrote, when she said in her letter, I made a mistake, I'm not going to brush it under the carpet, I'm not going to try and hang on to my job, I will resign immediately. That's what she did.
this Prime Minister, and he dealt with this yesterday in some detail, said that I will look at the detail. He looked at the detail of what happened, and he felt that Suella was deserving of that second chance. And I hope both of you agree with me that people deserve a second chance, and redemption is a good thing. Suella is a very talented Home Secretary. She's got a massive in-trade to deal with, not least with the small boats issue where people are being exploited, their lives being put in danger. We've seen the numbers rise this year. We have a burning platform to deal with. I was very much part of that team when I was Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, dealing with that almost on a daily basis, to put a plan in place to fix that issue, which is really, really difficult. It's almost at £6 million a day in cost at the moment, and we have to fix it and fix it sustainably, as the Prime Minister said yesterday. But Suella, I think, is deserving of a second chance. I guess the big difference is, in the old world, governments didn't change so rapidly. It would take years before you get a new administration and people would be out and then come back in with a second chance. Politics now moves at breakneck speed, as I discovered this weekend. Life comes at you fast.
Can I just ask you on migrants? 38,000 so far have crossed the Channel. That's the equivalent of a small town, putting huge pressure on local services in Kent and surrounding areas. When are you finally going to get to grips with this? Because, Minister, you did say Brexit would mean getting control of our borders. You've lost control completely.
So we've got the points-based system that actually has given us real control over our borders and who we have. And you look at what we're doing with the 50 best universities in the world, where we bring the talent from those countries. You look at what we're doing on, the highly skilled labour that we need in our country. The illegal migration, these small boats, these gangs, we have to deal with. That 38,000 you speak about, Andrew, 80% of that spike this year is from Albania, and they're using, as Suella spoke about at the party conference, that brilliant speech she gave, they're using, or abusing, I should say, they're not using, they're abusing the Modern Slavery Act to use that loophole to actually put their life in danger, come to this country, and then use that or abuse that loophole. We're going to close that. Suella's doing that. There's a number of work streams that she is focused on. That's one of them. Operationalizing the Rwanda scheme is another one. Working with our French counterparts on patrols and making sure that we do more work together with Albania to say to the Albanian government that we need to deal with this at source. There's a number of work streams that we're working at rapidly. And I know that she's focused on that, as is the Prime Minister. There are no easy answers, but we are determined to fix this. And I think it's right that the Prime Minister has put the right person in place in Suella Braverman.